Yo, what's good, everybody? New episode of the E Squared Show pod. No intro because let's just get into it. And plus, I keep getting flagged by YouTube. What the hell? What the helly? And yeah, this one is about the downfall of the Punjabi community. Before we get into that, um, dude, shout out to everyone who's been joining the Discord, who's been joining the Patreon. We got some insane episodes on the Patreon right now. We have an episode with Francisco Jose Luis. He's a European from Luxembourg who fell in love with the Panth from watching that documentary about Hari Singh, that really famous Nahang documentary where Hari Singh is taking care of the two little boys. And then because of that, he got into Sikhi, and then he started like wearing a pug, and then like he had this whole thing with like literally the country of Luxembourg, like with the minister about him wearing his pug at his job. And then like he started doing research for the Panth, and he has like insane insights. Like they're just very interesting like ideas. Like for example, like one tidbit that always just sticks in my mind is that he talks about how like sati became really a practice because the merchant class of India at the time did not want to take care of the widows of society. So they basically were like, yo, once you're basically a drain on society, so jump in the fire, immolate yourself. And so like these are very interesting like things. And so he talks about his journey, how, the Dal, he went to go take Pohol. Went to go take Amrit, and they kind of denied him because they're like, yo, you're Gora, you're Malesh, take it from a separate Bata, not the same one as us. And then that kind of like put him into a spiral. Listen to it. It's not just about a story. It's also just about like these crazy information like packets he has of knowledge. Like it's just this guy. And so there's like a 7-parter slowly coming on the Patreon with that. That one's available at the $4 tier. But at the $7 tier, you get now the access to the Discord, and this has basically become like a gentleman's club. Like, yo, you're like a peasant. Like, this is not for you. Some people be like, make it free, bro. Make it accessible. It's like, no, like the quality goes down. We tried that. A few people they paid extra, right? They did the $150 a month tier to allow extra people in, and we just let so many idiots in because when you have to pay your money, you want to contribute to the space. It's very simple, man. So it's become like a country club, resort club, it's like exclusivity, but there's accessibility, like $7 a month. If you're that much of a cheap fuck, it is what it is. But we've been going through Siri Chirito Pekyan, and it's like the Gen Z version where we have a Singh who's from the Taxal. He reads the lines, and then we basically like chime in on the stories. So we're like 11 or 12 stories deep. Those are also on the Patreon. We're also dropping the metaphysics of Sikhi, like a intro type of idea of like the epistemology, metaphysics of like reality between the Hindu thought, the Hindu Yogyachara tradition, and then the Madhyamaka tradition, the Buddhist one, and then like how Sikhi draws from both of them, just like, and this stuff is like, you're just getting this from the Discords and stuff. And we got like Nirmalay type of Singhs, we got Taksali Singhs, we've got like all types of characters. Join if you want to be a part of it, man. And otherwise you're missing out. This like it's like, dog, yesterday Sunday we had like a 11-hour session, man. We started from 7 in the morning and it stopped at 10 p.m. And just like people going in and going out, and just like all these ideas. And some of the things I was hearing and some of the things people were saying to me basically inspired this episode about the downfall of the Punjabi community, which I think is basically here. There was goodwill that the Punjabi Sikhs especially had garnered over the last like 30-40 years of being in America, and it's basically evaporated just like that. It's gone. And Punjabi Sikhs have basically become the poster boys, the mascots of this, like, yo, get these illegals out of here. They're literally killing American citizens. And you had this with the two truck driver crashes. The first one was in Florida, where the guy makes an illegal U-turn, and everything wasn't lining up on this guy's stuff. Like, it was his license is not lining up. Like, his status wasn't lining up. Like, nothing was lining up. So this guy was like a prime case for right-wing Twitter, right-wingers to be like, get these people out of here. Like, they're taking like advantage of our system, and look, they're killing American citizens. They're killing our people. And it's just not a good look, man. It's a really bad look, in fact. So that one happens, and then this like dumb petition starts where it's like, yo, give him a lenient sentence or something, which is like I don't know, man. I didn't get that whole like lenient sentence thing that they did. But then boom, back to back, this Amritari Singh from India comes here. Apparently he was lit. Maybe even if he wasn't lit, he causes a crash, and like 5 people die. And now officially Desis have become like, look, this is illegal immigrants come here. They take these jobs. They don't know how to do them correctly, and they're killing Americans. Now, of course, this is happening with non-Desis as well. Like, this is not like the only 2 car crashes to happen in the last 2-3 months of American. It's just like they're being platformed at such a high level by right-wing groups. And so this is why it's funny, like, with this whole Trump thing, which was like, you saw a lot of Desis online trying to be like really cozying up with the right-wing side of things, because they're like, yo, Trump this, Trump that, Hermeet Dillon, oh, we did Ardas at the RNC and all that really cringe behavior. But now look what happened. Like, these people aren't down with for you. They're not like, okay, hey, these are few bad apples. Desis have been prominent in the trucking industry for 30 years. Let's give them some leeway. Yes, bad apples always fall from the bunch. No, yo, look at these people. Look at that. And because we're so, like, we never even got past the whole, like, looking Muslim thing. Like, our community never graduated from like America going, oh, these aren't Muslims, they're Sikhs. We're still looked at as Muslims. And so combine that with now this, like, this is double like back to back, like chapered to the face, where if they don't like you because you're not Muslim, well, they don't like you because you're a truck driver that's like killing people. We have a guy in the Discord who like does trucking operation stuff, and he said like back in the day, Desis would get pulled over, and then when the person, like the cop or whatever, would see them, it's a Singh. It's like, oh no, it's okay, Mr. Singh, you keep going, because we had garnered so much trust, and that's the thing. Like, we are starting to fall apart, and this is just one of the things. I think like the whole immigration out of India into the West was like by and part like a big mistake. And the last episode covers why it was a mistake of like our downfall, but now we're gonna shift the blame to them. Like, these people came with zero civic sense, zero akal, 0 sense of ijjat, 0 sense of nothing, and they've come here and they've completely made an entire mess. Like, there's the only part in here where it's like I'm talking, and some guy on Twitter, the guy who wrote that Kernel of Regulations article, he's really smart. I agree with them fully, where it's like the people who are trying to be on the side of the right wingers are now having to like do damage control. Like, we're the good ones. Whenever you have to tell somebody else, yo, we're the good ones, like, it's dark. It's like Nazi Holocaust, Jews trying to like be capos on their own people, like, we're the good ones, we will collaborate type shit. Nah, man. They were never trying to look for the good ones. They were trying to throw everyone and anyone under the bus that they could to fit their agenda. And now you have this whole like white replacement theory, Gore are on the forefront, whatever type stuff happening. And, Desis are perfectly fitting. It doesn't matter how much of a model minority you were. It doesn't matter how much you contributed to right-wing conservative policies or whatever. It's come across where that side, the thing is look, man, you got to look at it like this. Conservative values always go to tradition. And tradition is what they believe was the apex of their civilization. And apex of Western civilization is post-World War II, 1950s, suburban lifestyle. You got the 2 kids and the dog, the house, the 2 cars in the front in the suburban yard with the karwali that stays at home and cooks and cleans, right? That's like tradition, conservative, peak Americana values. That was all a sham for many reasons. It was a look. It was propaganda. It was like Mad Men creating advertisement. And so conservative traditionalists, that's the view of America they want to go back to. Even though it was complete bullshit. It is what it is. There's so many issues happening under the scenes, but it was really good that like they were able to feed a generation and make them believe. And guess what? That was the worst generation of mankind. Like, this is what this is. Americans are beautiful with like trying to have a cake and eat it too, or whatever that saying is, because the boomers ruined the planet. The boomers are one of the worst generations to ever exist on planet Earth. And these conservative trad traditionalists want to emulate the boomers and what life they had because they had it so good. And so these conservatives today, they don't like you at all because you are not part of that image. That white picket fence, 2-car garage, mid-century modern home with the wife, all you don't fit into that. They don't want, Rashindra Paul. I tried to think of the funniest Desi name. They don't want Rashindra Paul in the neighborhood as your neighbor. And so this whole right-wing wave that's hitting America is not good for Sikhs whatsoever. And this is just also like across the board something that we as a community have to reckon with. How do we better create spaces in the West? The point of us going re-exodusing back to India is probably not going to happen. I don't see India getting better in civic sense and infrastructure and all this stuff. Corruption is off the charts. I'm not even talking about political movements and stuff. I'm just talking like, they're not making their country like China. They're not sprouting cities up that are like skyscrapers everywhere. And, the tag is still in my hoodie. Shout out to the cousins who bought this for my birthday. They're not sprouting amazing cities up everywhere you go. And it's just like, whoa, the subways and this. It's like it's so bad in India for people to not just jump onto sky trains and subways or metros and not pay. They basically made their tickets into lottery tickets so that every day and every week somebody's winning. They have to incentivize people through gambling to buy tickets in India. Like, no one's going back to India anytime soon. I've already done an episode of like, you're never going to make it back in Punjab. It'll be like the craziest whiplash. And like, you're going to have to kabja and stuff. Like, you want to know how dark it is? It's like bande will mar each other for land and stuff. So no one's going back. So we have to make our bones in the West. And now these are the issues, right? You have top 5 diaspora destination, let's call it. You have Canada, America, UK, Australia, and let's just say Europe. Okay. Europe is a dying civilization. They are not coming back anytime soon in their high civilization, but they might go, right-wing bajungered out and become super halad and, pagan Nazi 2.0 type shit. So Europe is not that great of a place. Sorry. Australia is not too bad, but you're just kind of like in the middle of nowhere. It's also a very complacent society. It has a lot of the issues that like Western Canada has, for example, but I don't know much to speak on it because I do know a lot of Desis. Like, let's just say like it's basically the top 2 runners in this situation, like Australia and Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, right? But then, like, we'll say put that to the side. Then the next one is the UK. Look at what just happened in the UK. In back-to-back months now, a woman has been sexually assaulted in like Punjabi Sikh neighborhoods. And society can't do anything to stop it. And it's so cooked out there in the UK that like you can't speak against like Muslim activities because it's like against the law or whatever. Like, people are getting thrown into jail for tweets and stuff. Like some guy literally tweeted like I love bacon, and then he got like a prison sentence. And Sikh, it's not that like Muslims are naturally Sikh enemies or nothing. It's nothing to do with that. But it's like, well, then if Sikhs are like, we oppose halal, this is against our beliefs. Is that against the law now to say these things? So I don't think the UK is safe for the Punjabi population. Like, you have to give up. Like, and also, like, that's like king colonization, bro. All the satyanas that the Punjabi community is facing today is because of them. They have not come back from their sins. And it's going to get like really Children for Men and V for Vendetta out there soon. Like, you see it coming, especially with these weird laws, especially like how they treat, like, this grooming gang thing is insanely bad of an issue, and they're just totally brushing it under the rug. They don't ever want to like, admit that it's like Muslim grooming gangs. Mohan Singh has been on these podcasts and stuff saying it. They don't want to admit that stuff. They want to brush it under the rug that, it's just like a flash in the pan, just randomly happens, blah, blah, blah. But like everyone else is just like, dog, what the hell? So UK is not it. And also, it's a small island. More wealth is not going to be created out there. They're so past their prime, they're never going to become a superpower. America is just not an intelligent country. And I hear guys all the time, well, you can carry guns, you can conceal carry. So what? The whole point of concealed carry in America was so that if the government started doing tyrannical behaviors, you could fight back. Buddy, have you not been awake? They've been doing tyrannical stuff. The Patriot Act, no one took their hatiyars and started marching against the government. That's not going to happen. Guns in America are to kill other people, basically. That's how the guns are being used. They're not used in a righteous manner for like the government's doing something or whatever. Like, people are just killing each other. So you don't carry a gun because of like, oh, the cops might step to you. You carry a gun because another civilian, another citizen, or another person in America might have a weapon and might use it to press you. So you need to be prepared yourself. And then we have guys talking about like you need to carry this. If you're a Khalsa, you need to be carrying this type of blade and a gun. And then he tells us simultaneously, like, yo, yeah, a bummer, like, you know, like walked, pressed up on me at the airport and like basically like made me into a kanjar. And like, where was your training or anything there? Like, there's nothing you could do. So this idea, like, they have weapons, who cares? And also, having free speech is a big point against them, because free speech has allowed for so much ganda to be said, so much ganda to be shared. Like, when you see how bad it is in America, like, think about it like this, right? And I'm pretty sure this is actually very accurate, that more than you want to believe, is that like 1 in 10 women in the Gen Z generation are on OnlyFans. Because if you do the math and stuff, like, it does equal to that. So that's pretty bad. Like, that's a society that's like morally failing, culturally failing. Like, what culture do they have? You know, the whole point of when America and Canada started out originally was Canada was like, we're French and Anglo-Saxon. America, you take all the dredges of society, of European society, all the like rejects of society, you guys can take them. We don't want them. So that's why you got a lot of German populations, Irish populations, Sicilian populations, because those are the people who are doing poor, not well, and then they came to America. And so that was like a huge thing. And culturally, it just kind of murked everything. Like, Italian culture to some extent is like, they kind of have an idea, but overall, like, what is American culture? American architecture died. The Art Deco movement died. There is no architecture movement. Music is just Scala music at this point, and it's just super degen behavior. American culture is basically degenerate culture, and degenerate culture is not really a culture, you know, because to a large extent, that's a very easy culture to tell people, like, yo, doing drugs and listening to really dumb music and having as much sex as you want and doing all this stuff, that's our culture, and eating really bad food. It's like, well, yeah, everyone would want to join that culture, because that culture is just super like awesome, you know, for the reptilian minded person. So America is like really out the door. So I don't know how Punjabis fit, because especially Punjabis in America, they have this really weird warped money idea. They're like so like yo, money. And I truly believe this, that and the Panth hasn't caught up to this yet, in my opinion, where, you know, if you're a Khalsa, you can't be investing in certain stocks. You can't be investing in stocks that kill, you know, black and brown people in third world countries. You can't be investing in stocks like Palantir that are surveilling on citizens. That's like oppressing sovereignty. You know, like, money has to have a morality to it. Otherwise, you go to that merchant class, or you start throwing women into fires in India because your society doesn't want to take the financial burden to take care of them. That merchant class, mercantilism class ideology, once it starts hitting your people, it starts hitting them really badly. When you're not actually attached to the creation of a physical aspect, you know, like I said in last video, having an erotic a relationship to the soil or a place. You know, people were like, well, Jats weren't always farmers. Yes, they were not always farmers, but Jats did have an intimate relationship to the land. Even if they didn't own it, even if they didn't till it, that land was an important aspect of them. When you're a merchant, when you have an intimate relationship to coin, your self-preservation is only for how much coin you can make. And that's what merchant classes throughout all of history. Not just a very specific, you know, in India or Middle East or in Europe or whatever. Just in general, mercantilism, the merchant type of ideology, it destructs your society, because you don't care about the well-being of your society. You care about the last buck. Look at 2008. When 2008 happened, they ripped out people's pension funds. They ripped out the rugs from the bottom ends of society, the middle class, the bottom class, and they left them with nothing. They didn't care. They just needed to save their asses and get their money. That's what merchant class ideology does to a people. It completely destroys any real relationship you have to the physical because it's attached to the intangible. Numbers are intangible. All this woo woo wah wah, million, trillion, gazillion, whatever dollars and stuff, it's just more numbers. They don't really mean anything at this point. But if you can manipulate them enough and you could put a fucking dollar in your pocket, yes, let's do it. And then who has to pay for that? The people at the bottom rungs of society. Because we also know, rich people at the top of society, they don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to contribute. And this is another part of Americans' demise, right? Europeans said long ago that America will not do well because they don't have an aristocracy. They don't have an aristocratic class that's going to basically care about America. And it's true. Right, the quote on when Alex Jones and these conspiracy theorist types of people talk about the globalists, what they're getting wrong is it's not like this cabal thing. It's like they're not connected to the soil. So they'll have summers in Miami, and then they'll have winters in Switzerland, and they'll put their money in the Cayman Islands, and they want to enjoy European architecture and they're belonging to the globe, not the soil of a specific country. And so that's why they don't care about the way the country works. As long as they can get their money out, their money is safe, their money is in a Swiss bank or a Swiss account somewhere, and they can just do whatever they want. And sure, I believe in freedom, but you should also need to take care of your society. This is why in the Romans, they had the Senate, and the Senate actually, yes, they were, you could look at them as an oligarchic, they were oligarchy, but they were corrupt, but they cared about the Roman affairs. When shit was getting messed and, they're losing wars, they didn't all just pack up their stuff, pack up their money and dip to another country. They were like, okay, we need to fight. Another Senate banda goes to the front instead, and they'll fight and die for Rome. That is not American aristocratic society at all. The rich people don't do that. They're fine with mining out the money out of your pockets. And so connecting the beginning thought and then this thought is that six in that regard are getting mogged mentally to basically just become these money grubbing fiends. All right? They just want to make money, and they'll do it for themselves, and they don't want to help their community. There's millionaires in America, and they have not helped the community. If anything, they've made the community worse. Hold up, the producers. Producers telling me about the new Parm vs. the World video where he gets he's in a car crash or something. I'll watch it after, but. So, bringing us back now to the downfall of the Punjabi community, we only have Canada left as a very viable option, and that's for a few reasons, because Canada's a baby country. You can it's basically getting Amazon stock early. And we've consolidated cities, places that can be safe. It doesn't matter that these Gore think that, Surrey's this crime-ridden place. It's not. Brampton, same thing. It's fine. Push the Gore out. They will go. They'll slowly get pushed out anyways. They want to leave. They don't want to live around Rishindrapal. So they're gonna leave anyways. That's fine. I've been seeing it happen in Surrey. I've been seeing it happen in Delta. People try to move to Langley. People try to move to White Rock. People try to move to Vancouver. They don't want to be in Surrey anymore. That's fine. No one is gonna bite you or hit you or nothing like that. We weren't gonna do the same thing to you guys that you were gonna do to us. We weren't gonna bully your children in school and say you're white this, you're white that, and bully them for the color of their skin. We weren't gonna throw burned crosses on your front lawns because you're a white person living in Surrey. We weren't gonna do any of the things that you did to us. We know that you have these monsters inside of you of how you treat brown people. Yeah, we weren't going to do that to you. Don't worry. So this idea of this white flight out of Surrey and these Brampton things, it just shows you the fickleness of the white mind, the white personality in the West. They don't want to truly accept you. They want to only accept you as long as you're putting money into their pockets. If you are contributing to their society in a way that they deem fit, Like, if we're making all the money and Surrey's getting bought up and Surrey's becoming this big thing and they're not getting a piece of the pie, then they'll hate us. And they are hating us, you know. Surrey is on track to becoming one of the biggest cities on the West Coast. It'll probably be bigger than Seattle in 5 to 10 years, you know. The amount of building they're doing. They're making 3 city centers all in Surrey itself. Newton, Guildford, and Surrey Central. Like, Surrey's on a wave right now. And, yeah, Gore are not down with that. And so, the downfall of the Punjabi community, though, is that we are amalgamating at a rate so fast, so hard, that what does the future look like? I'm a second generation banda. Technically, on paper, I'm first generation. But I saw firsthand what the first generation's future is going to be from my family. So when I say I'm technically first gen, what I'm speaking is my mother and father. My mother came here when she was a baby. She was 1 year old when she came to Canada. My father came here when he was 8. When they had me, they fully spoke English. You know, my dad has a record collection of Madonna and Montel Jordan and LL Cool J. My mother loved listening to Sade on her drives to work. My family is first gen, and that technically made me second gen. LOL, though my mom found the Texal, and like that kind of pushed me back into first gen mentality. But I am going to illustrate what the future of the Punjabi community holds with my family. And my family is a tragic story for what the future is going to hold. So first things first is the erasure of identity. Every single one of my mom's brothers and sisters, including my mom, was given a white name. They gave my mom's name Romy, my uncle John, my other uncle Bob, Bobby, Johnny, Rosie, Romy. That's what they named him, and it stuck. And then other family members, you know, Kim for a guy, which is kind of hilarious. Kim, Richard, like these types of names were given to guys. Someone saying there's a guy named Gurik Kabal and they call him Rick because Gurik Kabal. I thought that was kind of jokes and genius. Rick, you know, stuff like that. So first they erase your name identity. And they're not doing it purposefully. It's like, we can't say Rashinder Paul, so we're just going to call you Paul. We can't say Gurpreet, we're going to call you Gary. You know, that's what my dad got that one, Gary. You know, my Masi, you know, Tarnjeet Neeti. Stuff like that. So they first erase your name identity. But then they bring you into their society. They push you over. And so my mom basically got lucky and saved because she went full like Panthik Taksali and so whatever. But my uncle's on the other hand, like, you know, my uncle it's a tragic story in a way where he looks like John Stamos. I think that's his name. The guy from Full House, the Greek guy. He had green eyes. He was a wrestler build. And he got caught in the trap of like, here's the thing. Everything that we see, I see like the modern first gen kids doing, going to the university, going to the clubs, the dating scene, all that kind of stuff. I already know how it's going to end. I see it with my mom's siblings because they experienced all of that. My mom went to UBC. My uncles went to Langara and Douglas and Kwantlen. You know, I know for many first-gen kids, their parents didn't do any of that, but I got to see it. And what ended up happening was it's not that their identity got erased. They became degenerates, man. The degeneracy, now my cousins that are fully second-gen, they have no lick of an idea of what being Punjabi is, what the culture is. You know, I have every story in the book possible. I have interfaith relationships. I have children out of wedlock. I have, not me, but like in my family and stuff. I've seen all these things take place. This whole idea that, you know, that the new version thinks like interrelationship marriages are fine. No, it's cultural suicide fully. Your child will never know your religion. I've known many women, many boys who are halfies. They have no clue what Sikhi is. They have no clue what Punjabi culture is. They don't have the idea of Chardikla, Ijjat, the stuff they don't know what any of that stuff is. It's not even an idea that they can comprehend. And this goes to another issue, which is fundamentally Western society and Eastern society completely operate on a completely different operating system. And it's very simple. The Eastern world is cyclical. Everything is a cycle. The Western is everything is linear. That linear thing doesn't work. Nothing in life is linear, in fact. It is cyclical. Things work in cycles, right? And, economic cycles, boom busts, the water cycle. I couldn't think recycled. I'm just joking. But cyclical nature of reality is the true. And I believe that. I can't that's not like a metaphysics convo, but I fully believe that the nature of reality is the cyclical nature. And so these kids, they don't understand the cyclical nature of reality. They have the linear idea, good and bad, heaven and hell, whatever. They can't even get back into a version where they understand Punjabi, Sikhi, any of that stuff, because they're programmed the other way. They're programmed to think like, it just keeps going this way, keeps going that way, or whatever. So the interrelationship marriage thing will always fail. You're basically admitting that I am down to destroy my lineage. I'm down to destroy what I believe. I'm down to destroy my religion for sex, for love, because I couldn't find it in my own community. Women are the bigger perpetrators of this issue right now that I'm seeing, I would say, because women on a very higher end are the more they get complacent and fall in love very easily. And there's also because of feminism is brain rotting them, there isn't a thing for guys that is making them go oh, my own community is a bunch of dummies, blah blah blah, and I need to go towards other chicks. Brown bande do have enough akal to be all right, maybe I'll smash chicks that are not brown, but I'm gonna marry a brown chick. Brown chicks are for love, you don't understand. This is the Beauty and the Beast Cinderella story. I need to, he loves me. And this is how you get a nun's cottage where the husband is wearing cowboy hats, right? Because it's cultural suicide. It is. And so you're oh, well, I think, I'll get my kid to keep his hair. Of course, that never happens, because even in first gen kids that I saw, this gen before me that I had access to seeing what they were they were never, no one really came back to the fold. It was so rare for that to happen. Everyone was just yeah, we're done, bye. I don't believe in this Sikhi thing. I don't believe in this Punjabi thing. I'm basically white adjacent at this point. We're the next society. We're the next culture that's becoming white adjacent. So interfaith relationships, that's destroying the community. I'm sorry. It just is. And so it isn't if you believe that your community is not Punjabis and Sikhs, your community is Canadians. And in that regard, then no, it's not. It's actually you're actually doing well for your community. You're assimilating into or for the community, So in that case, shabash, good job. But if you truly believe your community is Punjabis, you believe your community is Sikhi, then interfaith marriages is actually destroying your idea of community, because you're having to become part of the other. And so, yeah, on the hippy dippy side, sure, yeah, free love, everybody, whatever. But the sad fact of reality that you will see is that there are certain cultural... See, and so this goes back to the other point. Gore have lost their culture, so it's easy for them to intermix and marry. And European society has done this for a long time. They've become mutts, right? They intermarry. They've been conquering each other and making kids with each other, that they're half most of European, most of Western or Middle Europe and Western is Germanic descent and stuff, right? So it doesn't matter, because what culture is there that you're really holding on to? Oktoberfest? Nah, that's not really a thing in America, so it doesn't really matter. But because in Canada, a lot of the people coming here, first gens or second gens, there is still a haunting or ghost of your culture past from the Middle East, from Africa, from India, from Southeast Asia, whatever, that it becomes incompatible with other communities and cultures. So you just have to wrestle with that yourself. How much of your community, how much of the things that you grew up, that you believed in, that made you, do you still believe in? So if you completely hate your community and stuff, that's fine. But again, this is basically getting to. This is where it's getting to. All right. So I saw interfaith marriages. Then I saw marriages in general, the divorce rate. In out of the like 9 couples in my family, 1 is a successful marriage. And even that, like, the husband has been caught cheating on the wife like multiple times, but the wife is just like down to like keep it together still. But out of like 8 relationships, 1 has survived. That's the future that we're gonna see as well. And again, let me tell you, the sample size I'm looking at is people in their 50s and 60s, so they've far gone past that age. So, many divorces, both from the woman, from the man. I've seen it. Multiple marriages, etc. And so the kids that we're seeing right now in their 20s and early 30s, when they get to 50, this is what it's going to be. The divorce rates are going to be astronomical. The cheating, the scandals of relationships, it's going to be off the charts. This is because, again, from the other episodes, the community is not strong. It's not tight-knit in a healthy way. It's toxic. So people want to leave. People don't care what people say. It's just a complete clusterfuck. The next thing is the woman. I have a mussy who was basically like a degen to the max. No accountability. She is a divorcee, lives by herself, is not close to her family, has no kids. This is the future for many brown women out there. If you made it past 27, 28 without being in a proper relationship and you still like fuck around with like younger guys and stuff and go to the club and want to have like fun times with your girls and stuff, this is the future that's waiting you. And that future is this woman had 2 serious relationships, quote unquote, but they didn't turn out well. And she, according to her, it wasn't anything her fault. It was the fact that her mom and her brother, who her mother and who her brother were, is why those relationships failed, which I don't buy. Like, that's just like cope that she's telling herself. She clearly did some crazy shit. And so then she got those 2 proper relationships out of the way by the time she was 25. And then after that, it was resort trips to Las Vegas, fucking younger guys, going to Mexico, doing degenerate behavior, and then, dating outside of the culture, just fucking around, and then it just turned into nothing. No marriage, no successful marriage, crazy body count, are horrible with family. They're so bad with other family because they've had to become degenerate by being isolated from their family, that once they're put back into their family, they just don't know how to act. They don't know how to be members of their family. They don't know how to show love. They don't know how to be close with their cousins, their siblings, their nieces, their nephews. It's like so foreign to them. And they become pariahs within their own family that they ostracize themselves again and leave. That's what's the future of some of these women. And listen, it's not 1-to-1. But some of the things that I said, some of them might stick. The non-accountability in relationship, the 1 divorce marriage, the continuous thing to party with my girls and not contributing well, becoming a degen, these things will start to happen. Let's go to a guy story. Banda is so bad at having relationships, could not carry a proper relationship, could not talk to women, thought that his gutti was the issue, and cuts his gutti, can still not pull because he didn't understand what it was. Instead, was trying to chill with his white boys, completely discounted the fact of what brown culture was, tried to go really deep into white culture. The white people didn't support him in his time of need. The white people, they couldn't really help him. He couldn't get a girl. He has to go to India to get a girl. And he gets this jalaki woman because he never truly understood what women were like. He never read the Charitros. Subscribe to the Patreon $7 tier for the Charitros Gen Z version. And he didn't understand the Charitras of women. And woman ends up cheating on him with a white banda once she came out of the pin in Canada. And this guy's brain is completely gone. Poof. This guy's mad, paranoia, delusional, low-key schizophrenic at this point. This is the type again, these are getting very specific as time has gone on, but we will start to see these things. And we are seeing these things, right? The drug habits of certain people ending up in hospitals, right? Schizophrenia is on the rise. Why? Because of these things. So Like, the downfall of the Punjabi community, I've seen it, and it's going to happen even worse and worse. The idea of what we have of what Sikhi is, like, when I see these guys, their kids, their idea of Sikhi is so bland. It's like plain rice. There's no side dish or nothing to it. It doesn't have the toppings that it requires for what it properly is. They don't know the Barney. They don't know the lineage, the history, or none of that stuff. It's, oh, the Wali is about lights and over darkness, and Guru Hargobind freed 52 kings. Even if they know even that much. These people don't know Vaisakhi. They don't know the names of the Gurus and Sahibzade. What part of Punjabi culture have they kept? None. They've kept Gora culture. It's all white culture. So the downfall of Punjabi community is happening at an exponential rate. You know, our image is being tarnished on one end. Our family connections are being tarnished on another end. We're being assimilated. We don't understand our Sikhi. The conversions, at this point, you need to basically create missiles, MISLS, of people that are coming together to foster mini communities. Not this like white idea where you fuck off to a middle of nowhere and create a ranch and, you know, you live by yourself basically on the homestead. No, like, you need to create tight-knit groups, kind of like we have in the Discord, where there's like this like bande getting together, and it's like, yo, you know how to keep your families in check, your ideas in check, your own mind in check for what the future is going to hold, so that you can understand how to go into the future. Because if you don't, it's just chipping away at you. Western society, the world is chipping away at you. They're chipping away at your dignity. They're chipping away at your family. They're chipping away at your ideals. They're chipping away at your soul. And so the only way to combat that is to create tight-knit groups of people together that share good and beautiful ideas, you know? And for example, that's what the Discords have done. These groups that we've created from the Patreon, these ideas. And again, you have to you shouldn't also just have it available to everyone, because then you don't want people coming into your groups and fucking everything up. You want to be able to have a high bar of entry so that you can basically do background checks on people to know who you're letting into your groups, because these groups you're creating now, they're the ones that are going to sustain you, your family, your household, your community, your neighborhood, and all these things. Because other than that, like, I don't see how you bring the clock backwards. I don't see the Gurdwara doing mass PSA announcements of like, this is how you fix your kids. Like, they'll basically be like, you know, in the premarital sex video, Costa sex video, like, yeah, just tell your kids not to talk to girls, and if they talk to girls, disown them. What? Yeah, again, now you're basically sending them off to another community. You need to have nuance, a gray area, and ability for discernment, vivek, buddhi, to basically deal with these things, the downfall of the Punjabi community that's happening. It's not going to be happening on social media, Instagram accounts, or people LARPing, cosplaying as Khalsa Singhs, or cosplaying and LARPing as proper Jats or Desis in Punjabi. It's not going to happen. It has to happen through real conversations, realness, real feeling, and connection to other people. Other than that, I don't see, again, like, where things just start to rise up like randomly. I think the only way it can is if a movement like some trad Khalsa type shit starts to gain enough popularity where people start going like, yo, to be part of these ranks, to be part of this mentality, we need to be a certain way. And then it starts to disseminate and it becomes a new wave of what people believe. And that is possible. But like it starts by like it starts like one by every person. And so some people are gonna be this like, I don't see this as a problem. I don't see like getting into degenerate culture and going to the strip clubs and doing drugs on the weekend with my boys and, you know, cheating on my wife and, you know, all this stuff. I don't see how that's so bad. It's just being a man, or it's just being a woman, or blah blah blah. That's fine, man. You're a lost cause. Maybe one day in your life you'll come back from that. I don't know. But if you are seeing that there's an issue, if you're seeing an emptiness around you, if you're seeing that you're not able to connect to the Sikhi, you're not able to connect to the community, you're not like, you need to find one. And I'm saying, yeah, sure, we have one. And like, it's beautiful now, right? Like, yo, there's like 300 plus members. The conversation's always bumping, whatever. But sure, if you think, yo, Tupac, Baba, whatever, you don't want to be involved, that's fine. Go find it, nurture it on your own with your own people, your own boys. Do business with them, trust them. You know, have families that are coded and close-knit and all this kind of stuff. Because otherwise you are out there on your own in the wilderness. The strength of our tradition, our civilization of the East, is our community building. Our ability for making strong communities. Yes, they can also be toxic, but they can also be very strong. And that's what we're going to need now, is in this future, we need to build these strong communities. that can withstand the waves and pressure of Western, like the Western barbarians at our gates. I look at Western society as very barbaric. They don't stand for nothing. They don't believe in nothing. There is no moral compass. It's just money. It's money and pleasure. That's basically the dogma of Western culture. It doesn't strive for larger ideals. Any ideal that you think is larger always has money behind it. Any ideal that is larger always has somebody getting their dick sucked behind it. Just it is what it is. And so if you want to survive this new tsunami, this new wave, this new crash, you need to build these tight-knit communities for people to really feel belonging, acceptance, love, understanding, because then it can go to your next generation. Within a vacuum, when you're like, again, bringing this back to what I saw in these family units where the families, the brothers and sisters aren't talking together, there's no ability for the dissemination of to their children to be like, yeah, have love for your cousins, show love. Like, I'm very much a like outlier with like how I show love to my cousins. I buy them stuff. Yo, you need this? Sure, let me get this for you. Like, with like that very classic, like, you know how Desis love, and this is like a funny thing where they give like pyar with money. Like, I still like carry that tradition in a funny way with my cousins, you know, to show them like there's love here for you. You can come over whenever, blah, blah, blah. Because like it's not being disseminated in the same way in the future generations. And if we're going to save them, this is really the only way. And the last thing I want to speak on is addiction. I want to do a bigger one about this, but, you know, addiction is becoming a problem in the Punjabi community at a level that's just, what can you even say, man? I know guys that are addicted to drugs in 12-step programs. I know guys that have had to go to rehab. I know so how many people know desi uncles, dads, parents, moms, dads that are alcoholics. Not moms, but usually dads. But now, again, second gen, first gen, they're becoming alcoholics as well. You see women becoming alcoholic. Women going to parties, openly drinking with their dads and getting sloshed. This is where our community is heading. This is where our community is going. So why are you surprised? Like, don't come out here and be a woman or a banda being, yo, these women are fucked, or these guys are fucked, or chicks being trauma meant, because you are adding to the community being amazingly bad. You're not a moral figure or a character. You don't create a beautiful nucleus of warmth and love around you. You actively contribute to the gand. Guys being like, yo, these chicks are whores, and yet they want to make more chicks into whores by fucking them and taking their like their virginities or adding to their body counts. They don't care. They're just trying to get their pleasure. And so that mindset, like, it's destroying and eating our community alive. And the addiction is, and a lot of addiction is like manifesting in a lot of ways. But like, I mean, alcoholism is horrible, you know, and it's getting to the cocaine, it's getting to the drugs, it's getting to the fent, it's getting to the pills. You know, psychedelics are mangling people's brains left, right, and center. I see dudes that are like, yo, yeah, I used to smoke heroin. I used to, snort, my bad. You don't smoke. I don't know what you do actually, but you snort heroin. These people have been like getting addicted to pills, addicted to all types of things. And I see it, man. I see it around me. Like, let's put it this way. You go through high school in a Canadian high school and you have a graduating class of about 250 people, I'm going to assume. Maybe only 50 of those people will go the rest of their life fully being sober. Yeah, I think that's very accurate. The rest of the 200 will either become drinkers, drug users, porn addicts, addicts for like degenerate behavior, like clubbing and strip clubs and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm be honest, I've never understood the allure of a strip club. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Similarly, how like it doesn't make any sense to me, like guys who watch porn for the sake of watching porn. Like, you know, there's been guys in the Discord telling us stories of like at their work, there's guys who at the night shift will just watch porn all night. I don't get that, man. Like you watch porn like it's TV. Like, that makes no sense to me. But apparently, like, there was that episode in Friends where that was like one of the the plots of one of the episodes where Joey and Chandler turn on a television channel that is porn. Like, I don't get that. That makes I don't know if I'm crazy, but that makes no sense to me. This idea you just want to watch porn just to like watch it, like, what? And similarly, it's like I don't get what the idea of a strip club is. Like you like these women, like from that Magic City documentary. These women are mad bitches. Like they're mean as fuck to you. They're basically gonna just use you and say shit to get your money. You know, you're not fucking them. You're just watching them, and they're mean people. You know, they're disrespectful, low key. They just want to. You know, they just want your money, and you still go. What? It just truly makes no sense to me. And like that's why, again, like those things. And like another little funny thing is somebody told me is like the girls, these girls now will claim that they want to go to the club because it's for them, they want to be with their girlfriends, but they're going because they want to link and find a guy. Okay, it's not this like, oh, you know, we're so like about the vibes and the experiences. Nah, you're not. It just, you know, basakar. And so this is like the type of degenerate stuff you're seeing, and we're trying, and not I'm not normalizing at all. These desis, you know, Punjabis or whatever, they're trying to normalize the behavior going to the clubs and the strip clubs in Vegas and all this to kitty parties. As Yuvraj Singh would say, kitty party. You know, they're trying to normalize all this behavior. Why? Because again, the de facto culture of any falling civilization is pleasure. It's very easy to fall into that. Pleasure is good. We know it is. You want a quick fix. You want to come fast. You want a quick orgasm. You want a quick drug fix. You want a quick this, now. Money now. If I have to rip off every single person in my family to make a mill, why not? Why would somebody want to work 10 years to make to make the money that they could if they rip everybody off in a second? And that's the issues that are these philosophical issues that are basically like invading the mind of our desis, that is basically hollowing our community inside and out. I see, my prediction is within 100 years, Punjabiyat is non-existent in the West. There will be no such thing as a quote-unquote like true Punjabi person, because they'll just be mogged by Gala culture, Western degenerate culture, Indian culture. The Punjabiness is dead. It's the downfall. And it may be, from my plan, my solution, it can maybe exist in small enclaves, small communities. And I suggest that those people that create those communities don't have open arms, don't have open doors. You need to gatekeep. You built these communities, you're building these zones or whatever. Don't have any single person have the ability to just walk in and take space. Protect these spaces. That's why when you get to the highest level of societies, you know, aristocratic societies, golf clubs, gentlemen clubs, you have to pay money. And you have to pay serious money to get in, because they don't want some random person who has no akal, who has no sense of like anything, who a bando can't read the room, a bando can't follow the trad koans, to just get in there and talk their bakwas or be bakwas. You need to have a high standard for the people that are in your circle, because otherwise it's just going to lead to the exponential downfall of you, your family, your children, your people, your household, your neighborhood, your community, your nation. And with that, join the Discord Patreon for $7. The $7 tier will basically get you everything. $4 will basically just get you access to like audio episodes only at this point. And I'm working on a book right now. It's like a little poetry type book, my version, not this like Fudu proverbs or poetry stuff. Like this is a lot more trad khalsa koans basically. And so I hope you guys stay tuned for that. I need to finish those things, but you know, with that, I hope you enjoy. Peace.